Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Security Systems News Leadership Talk webcast series, where we speak with leaders in the industry each week about leadership and other topics pertinent to the industry. I am very happy to have this week Chris Peterson. He's the president of VectorFirm. Hi, Chris. Great to have you.
Hey, Paul. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and then, instead of me trying to tell everyone about the company, why don't we start? If you can give us an overview of VectorFirm, and then we can go from there.
Okay, yeah, that's easy. We started VectorFirm, or I started VectorFirm in 2010, and essentially what we do is we're a consulting and training business, specifically around sales and marketing for security businesses. We deliver that through strategic consulting engagements. We do ongoing virtual training through our VectorFirm Sales Academy. I go practically every week. I'm somewhere speaking to deliver personal training and just regular keynotes and things of that nature. And then we have inbound marketing programs where companies actually outsource to us to be their inbound marketing arm and digital marketing arm. So that's what we do. We specialize in the security industry, and about 75–80% of our customers are integration companies, and the other 25% or so are manufacturers.
Okay, good. That helps with the following questions. I think a good place to start would be you work a lot with systems integrators. So what are some of the biggest challenges you're facing, working with system integrators today?
With the integrators, well, I don't really face any challenges because their needs are, we built our business around them. So, but their challenges that I've seen on the sales and marketing side is, and it's probably not just limited to system integrators in the security industry, or even a lot, managed service providers that are, IT managed service providers that we work with. But the idea of proactive selling is just a huge challenge. What seems to happen at most of these organizations is they hire somebody because their sales team is overwhelmed, and they end up grabbing accounts, because they've got a handful of accounts, and within a year or 2 years, if that salesperson is successful, they're working 55, 60 hours a week just managing their current account. So they bring on another salesperson or two, and what ends up happening is they've got a sales team and management, quite candidly, that is 100% in reactive mode, because they're trying to take care of their accounts on an ongoing basis. And by the way, it's a good thing to do, but being able to make that shift to where they are spending some of their time in proactive mode and finding new accounts, new business, whether it's within those current customers or finding new customers, that's virtually impossible the way they're doing it today. So that's a big challenge that I help with, and our marketing team will come in and help with. That's almost universal. I would say that it's probably not inaccurate to say that every one of my clients that we've worked with have had that problem. Another challenge that we face quite a bit is shifting from being a traditional on-premise large systems selling organization into having these companies sell hosted and managed services to increase their recurring revenue. Making that shift is hard because everything that the company has done forever has been about selling the large systems, whether the $20,000 systems or $200,000 systems. That's the way the company's been built, and their recurring revenue has been built around service agreements. So now they have this desire to shift to selling cloud services, selling hosted services, and then providing managed services through the cloud. It's just it's a different way of doing things, and making that shift has become is difficult for an organization to do if they don't have the right guidance and the right program in place. Those are the two that pop out immediately, Paul. I probably if you give me a few more minutes, I could think of 5 other challenges, but those are the ones that pop out right off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, those are good ones. I agree. Those are big ones that I agree with you, that I'm hearing from integrators that I speak with. And that also takes us into the next question, because I think a lot of the direction that a company takes and the strategy they take, it's based on the leadership of that company. So can we talk a little bit about that? This is, the name of the webcast is Leadership Talk. So can we first talk about your leadership style, and then kind of what you think are the most effective styles for sales managers or, leaders at specific companies that you work with?
Yeah, sure. So, my leadership style, it's interesting because before I started this company, I was a vice president of sales for a while and a sales manager before that. And I spent about 9 years as VP of sales. And then before that, just running a region with some folks reporting to me. And since then, quite candidly, I haven't really led anybody. But from what I remember and what I prided myself on is I always thought that whatever my actions were, the idea was that my team would act appropriately when they're in the field or on the phone on a day-to-day basis when I wasn't around. So everything from coaching them on how to utilize their full potential and their unique talents that fit into our organization's mission and how we're going to go to market and sell, to what they do, to what activity they take on. That was my goal. I don't know what my style would be necessarily, but that was my goal. And I tried very hard to break it down to the individual personalities and their skill sets. And I remember one of the folks that was on my team. He was just somebody that was somewhat of a, he needed to be by himself, right? He didn't want people to manage him, and quite candidly, he didn't need people to manage him. He was a really strong performer. And one time he called me and said, "Where you been, man? I'm missing you," because I just left him alone. And I told him, I said, well, every time I call you, you act like you're bugged by me, and I don't want to get in your way. And he said, no. And he taught me a great lesson there. He said, no, I do like to hear from you every now and then. You got good tips. But other folks on the team I would be with, I had a gentleman out west I'd ride with, at least once a month. I'd get in a plane and go all the way out west and be with him once a month because he needed it, and he wanted it, quite candidly. So that was my style. The styles that I see, Paul, that work and I hate to say it this way, but just be a leader, be a manager, be a coach. Our leadership that I've seen, and mostly this is in system integrators, and it's also the case in a lot of smaller manufacturers, not the larger corporate manufacturers, but the smaller ones. They're just on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, they're just going from tactic to tactic to tactic, putting out fires, being very, and they have to do this. I get it. They have to do this. But they haven't really provided any coaching. They haven't gotten out in the field and rolled up their sleeves with their salespeople and said, okay, how are we going to, these are your 5 prospective accounts that we need to get into this year. How are we going to do it? Let's talk through that. There's none of that. And I understand why these businesses are just hustling to keep the lights on and to make a profit and to grow over last year and to make the bank happy. I understand all that. But the salespeople out there are dying. They are desperate for leadership, and they're desperate for, well, leadership's kind of a bad term. They're desperate for coaching. I think that's a better term. They're desperate for somebody to get out there and help coach them and where to go. Most of these owners, they provide some leadership. I don't want to imply that they don't, but the coaching, they need to get more of that. The salespeople do, and that's a challenge. In fact, wait, Paul, before you ask the next question, I just realized from the last question you asked, as far as the challenges they have out there, shifting to hosted and managed services, the integration companies that I've seen go from being a large program business into successfully selling hosted and managed services, the number one trait of the ones that are successful is that the owners and the leaders buy into it, and they coach their sales team to making that shift. They hold them accountable. They get in the field with them. They ask them why they sold an on-premise system here when it's probably a better hosted system. That is the absolute number one trait amongst system integrators that are successful in making that shift, is that ownership and leadership has completely bought into that shift, and they coach their team how to get there. Yeah,
and you did a great presentation on that topic at Cloud Plus this past year. So, and that's a really relevant topic, like you pointed out. I think it's something that every integration company is dealing with right now. All right, Brad, I'm not really well versed on this. Can you tell us about the VectorFirm Sales Academy? What is that exactly?
Oh yeah, I'll talk about that for the next 2 hours if you'd like. No. So the VectorFirm Sales Academy is it's a virtual sales training program, just like joining a gym. It's a monthly fee per person. And let me step back to tell you about the impetus of it, because it's a good story. In 2014, I was approached by actually 2 organizations at the same time, because I spoke in front of their national sales teams within a couple months of each other, and both of them asked me the same thing: can we do something like this, except once a year, do it more virtually for our entire team? And so I put this program together on how to deliver sales training. Now, these 2 organizations had, one had 115, 125 salespeople, depending on the week. The other had about 70. So these were large system integrators. So we put together a program where every month we did a webinar on a different topic, and the topic was very narrow and very deep. We had lessons that they had to do, so they had action items after the webinar. We did podcast interviews on that particular topic, so a 20-minute interview with somebody in the industry that was really strong at that particular topic. So let's say, for example, a topic is how to sell to A&E firms and consultants. You know, I just picked that out of my list. So I would find somebody in the industry that was really good at, so actually for that particular one, I had a podcast interview with a consultant. Then we would do these videos that we would deliver. So a couple videos that were like 3 minutes long, just refreshing some of the things we talked about in the podcast and in the webinar. And every month we would deliver these particular services so, you know, on the 3rd Thursday of the month at a certain time, the entire sales team would get on a webinar, and we drive the webinar, the topic. And then the next week there'd be a video reinforcing the topic, and the next week there'd be a podcast interview they would get. And then, you know, a few other things. They do their action items, and the following month there'd be the next topic. And it's all about sales and marketing, you know, social selling, how to get in the door using email, things like that. Well, we ended up working with, I'm sorry, Paul?
No, I just said that sounds cool.
It was, right? But we ended up working with 5 different organizations doing this. And we were charging $3,500 to $5,000 a month to do this, because, you know, the effort that goes into it. Well, you know, our industry, there's maybe 5. So, we work with 5 organizations. There's maybe 7 that have enough salespeople to justify that pricing. So a couple years ago, I sat back and said, okay, how can we deliver this to the typical system integrator out there that has 3 salespeople? So we came up with this thing called the VectorFirm Sales Academy. And I have a partner who actually works with me, my marketing director, and we hired some software people, and we built this site and this platform. And essentially you can join for $48 a month for one person. And then, you know, if you got 20 people in your organization, it goes down to like $35 a month or something, but you pay per person. So the organization that has 2 salespeople is paying, you know, $92 a month or whatever it comes to, $96 a month. And the company that has 100 salespeople is paying, you know, $3,000 a month or $2,000 a month or whatever it comes to. And that way we're able to get people from all sizes of businesses engaged and giving them that sales training program. And the Academy is a lot cooler than the original program, because we've got points, you know, you've got the podcast, you've got reward points when you go in and you listen to watch a video, watch a webinar, answer a quiz. So it's very gamified. It's pretty cool. We launched it in August. We've had 0 attrition. Everyone that joined is still a member, and we're going to start promoting this in April. And the reason we're waiting until April, we have almost 100 members actually, and we haven't really promoted it. The reason we're waiting until April is because we're doing some, you know, preliminary work on it and making sure in fact, we're pretty much done with it. We're in testing mode now, and we're going to promote the heck out of it and get people, you know, drive this thing to really serve the industry.
Yeah, it's good just in time for the big conference season too. With my next question, I was going to ask you about ISC West. That's in April. I know PSA's got the exclusive education track, and I know you're going to be you're presenting a session there, right? Is that accurate?
I am. I'm actually I'm speaking. I'm on the agenda 3 times out there.
Oh wow!
Well, one of them is for PSA. Because I'm a business solutions partner for PSA, and I'm a really deep partner with them. I appreciate everything they do for the industry, and we'll be speaking at PSA Tech in a few weeks also. But I'm speaking as part of their track on how to build a managed services sales machine. And the other 2 sessions, I'm serving on a panel with Tracy Larson and a few other people. Tracy's the moderator from WeSuite, and then I'm also delivering a session on how to find new business, and that's just me as VectorFirm.
Oh, great! Yeah, so I'll be seeing you a lot. I'll be at PSA Tech in Denver, and I'll see you at IC West in Vegas. So that's great.
All 3 of those sessions in Vegas are on Tuesday, so I'll be pretty beat up Tuesday evening.
And so I agree with you about PSA. Great organization. Love Bill Bozeman and all the leadership there. Can we talk a little bit more about some of the work you're doing with the integrators and PSA?
Oh, sure. So it's primarily it's the same work I do with any system integrator or manufacturers we work with also. But the difference with PSA is that as a business solutions partner for PSA, an integrator will let's say we do a consulting program that lasts 18 months. They want my company to come in and help them find new business, put together a program on digital marketing as well as business development work and creating that persona out in the marketplace, and then also how to get the sales team to find new business. 18-month program, and you pay by milestones, right? So instead of coming to me and paying me, I bill through PSA, and then PSA bills them. So where the value is for the integrator that is a little bit different than an integrator that's not a PSA member, is that they get the same terms with PSA that they do with for everything else. So my company gets paid in a couple weeks, and they have whatever special terms that they put together with PSA to pay PSA. It's a really nice engagement because they get to continue that commitment towards PSA in paying for our services, and we get that partnership of working with a large organization like PSA, whose primary purpose and mission to their members is to educate them and make them stronger businesses.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That nailed it in that one sentence, and yeah, it's good to hear that you're working with them. And just we've got about a minute left. We spoke about PSA Tech, IC West, or are there some other conferences you're going to?
Yeah, so every year I and actually my marketing director comes on a couple of them and speaks also, but I will do PSA. It's a regular circuit: PSA Tech, ISC West, the ASIS, wherever the ASIS show is, ISC East, and then the last few years and this year of Cloud Plus. So it's a regular circuit that we're on, and I go there, not just to speak. I mean, that's great to do, but I go there for my clients as well. So my clients that will pay for that 18-month engagement. Part of that engagement might be at the ASIS show. Chris will speak to your sales team, and also the entire industries are at these shows, so I can learn what they're learning as well as get together and get to know these folks. But that's usually, Paul, that's pretty much our circuit. PSA Tech, ISC West, as is ISC East, and then Cloud Plus.
Yeah, that's great. And we're looking to have Cloud Plus a little bit earlier this year, so that'll be good. We should have dates soon. But that's great. So I appreciate you joining us this week. I think the 20 minutes went by really fast. And Chris, thank you again. It's great speaking with you.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Paul. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys stay warm up there.
Yeah. We actually had 60 degrees yesterday, if you can believe it.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week, same time, same bat channel. All right.
Awesome.
Take care, Chris.
All right, Paul. See ya.
Bye.